Peter Dickinson is the editor of the UkraineAlert blog at the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Center and the publisher of Business, Ukraine and Lviv Today magazines. He joins me now live from Kiev. Thank you very much, Peter, for joining us here on TRT World. Now, two significant developments. Number one is, of course, that the European Union has approved another major aid package for Ukraine. And the second one is, of course, that we are getting indications that Germany is going to allow Poland to send Leopard tanks to Ukraine. How do you think that is going to change the conflict on the ground?
Good evening. Thanks for having me. I think the Leopard tanks is a key issue at the moment. This has been made clear by Kiev. There's been a lot of talk here for many, many months. They've been asking for these tanks for a long time. And the message has always been quite clear. Ukraine needs these tanks in order to liberate the country and free up the territories occupied by Russia. And they've been very clear that until that is achieved, the war cannot end. There is no room for a negotiated settlement with an enemy that has basically said that it intends to destroy Ukraine and to wipe Ukraine off the map, and is now already claiming four regions of Ukraine in addition to Crimea, which was annexed in 2014 by the Kremlin. So Ukraine has been clear that it needs the weapons from its Western partners to liberate lands, not just to defend itself, but to actually go in and take the lands back. And the key weapon at this stage that they're asking for is modern battle tanks. The Leopard is the tank that's most widely available in Europe, so that's the tank they want. And all pressure has been on Germany in recent weeks to allow that, if not to deliver the tank themselves. So if they are now ready to allow that in Berlin, that will be a very significant moment, and it will set the stage for what was expected to be a major Ukrainian counteroffensive in probably the early spring, so in the next maybe month or so.
Right. And Peter, my next question is not entirely related to the politics of this conflict, but rather the military side. Now, over the past few weeks, there's been a lot of talk about these tanks, Leopard 2 tanks. Why do you think it is important for Ukraine to get these tanks? To what extent is it going to help Ukraine in liberating territories that have been occupied by Russia?
Well, Ukraine has shown itself to be very adept at fighting back against Russian forces since the very first days of the conflict. They've inflicted very high casualty rates on Russian forces, but reclaiming land that's under occupation is a very difficult prospect. Ukraine was able to liberate most of the Kharkiv region in the northeast of the country. They liberated the right bank of the Kherson region in November of last year. But both those operations were very painstakingly prepared, and especially in Kherson, that cost a lot of Ukrainian lives as well. They need these tanks in order to be able to go in and secure territories and to force Russia back from defensive positions. Russia has used the last few months to dig in deep and has put in very strong defenses. They've secured their positions. They've established wide minefields, rows of defenses. So Ukraine really needs armor to be able to go in there and take the territory. They can't just throw people at it. They don't have enough armor at the moment, enough tanks themselves. And the Leopard is the best option, as I say, because it is the most widely available in Europe. Germany has many, but other countries, including Poland, Finland, Norway, and other countries can also add to this Leopard fund, and going forward it will be something that can be renewed and supported in the long term as Ukraine looks to liberate the whole of the country.
Fascinating insights into the topic. Peter Dickinson, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.